Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a clip of a fat activist saying fatness is not a choice. They go on to say that obesity is actually caused by chronic illness, social determinants of health, etc. Yes, another one of those classic clips. We're also going to be taking a look at a few bonus clips from this same creator, including one where they're arguing with a thin person and telling them it's not as bad when they can't find their size in store. And another one where they're arguing with a different thin person who's accusing the fat activist of being thin-phobic, so be sure to stick around until the end. Also, please be sure to check out a video I released over the weekend on my second channel about the woman with the world's biggest cheeks. Here's a link. Please be sure to also follow me on X, Instagram, and Facebook, all of which are linked below. I'm going to be releasing a lot more vlog-style content on Instagram, so be sure to follow me over there. Before we proceed, please click the like button so that I may apply comb to mustache. She's going to be responding to this comment that reads, "Fatness is a choice more often than not. Medical reasons are rarer than those want to admit. I lost 130 pounds and will still buy 4X, 5X for comfort. Not my problem, you don't buy it first." Okay, so we found the person that's going around buying up all the plus-size clothes.
I just want to point out the blatant anti-fatness and hypocrisy within this comment.
Hypocrisy. That's the worst kind.
Fatness is actually not a choice more often than it's not because of SDOH. Look that up if you don't know what it is.
I had to look that up when I first watched this video. SDOH is social determinants of health. Abbreviated SDO, because it's something stupid like Homer Simpson would say. Imagine an alcoholic trying to blame their lack of sobriety on society.
I'm guessing you don't. Genetics, chronic illnesses, weight stigma.
I love how they say that like it's a big gotcha. I'm guessing you don't know what the social determinants of health are. Like it's valid or something.
Poor treatment by healthcare providers. Lack of medical
Poor treatment by healthcare providers makes us gain weight, even though we went to the doctor for a myriad of weight-related problems. Okay, go on.
Access to like preventive health screenings. I could literally go on.
Lack of access to preventive health screenings is making us obese. Okay.
Forever about this. But also, even if you wanted to argue that it was a choice, what's your point exactly?
Maybe their point is that you shouldn't go around demanding bigger stuff or better accommodations if you're the one that puts yourself into a situation where you can't fit into stuff.
Because if it was a choice and everyone lost weight, you wouldn't have access to your 4 to 5Xs that you get for comfort, right?
We could still make giant clothes for comfort or for fun, you know. By the way, this look on your face is not going to intimidate me, my friend. It looks like you're ready for a good old-fashioned staring contest. And go. All right, man, you win. You're clearly insane.
So, like, wouldn't you lose your comfy clothes?
That's exactly what I sound like.
You are literally the problem. The thins are not okay.
The thins. All of you. You ain't okay. Imagine referring to all people that are not obese as the thins. What? Okay, so that was weird. That person called this person out by saying that obesity is a choice. You could lose weight if you wanted, etc. And they respond by talking about the social determinants of health. And then they call me out for being the problem. Listen, I might be the problem, but there are no social determinants of health, okay? Next. Now she's going to be responding to this comment that reads, "Being obese is almost always a choice. Lamau, you can choose to be fat, but to advocate for it is crazy." What do you mean it's crazy? This look on her face isn't crazy at all. I'm not scared. What do you mean you're scared?
This is my official advocate video to be fat. If you want to never find your clothes in a store, if you want to be bullied by people on the internet, if you want to never be taken seriously by a doctor.
Hell yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Where do I sign up?
If you want to be given dirty looks when you enter an airplane because no one wants to sit by the fat person.
I do.
If you want to have to do the extra labor of researching restaurants and their seating.
The extra labor. It's hilarious that you think looking up stuff is labor. All the extra stuff that they have to do is labor, but they didn't do any labor to increase the size of their body and put themselves in their current situation. That's the weird thing. We have all this extra stuff that we gotta do, but we did literally nothing to put ourselves in the situation that we're currently in. Society put us here, but we have to do labor to make it easier for ourselves once we're here.
Before you go there, same thing with actually seating pretty much anywhere. If you want to research what like the layout and the seats look like before you leave your house in any capacity.
Okay, so we're willing to do that type of labor, but perhaps not other types of labor. Okay.
If you want to research travel policies for airlines to see if you need to purchase an extra seat so you don't bother the people around you.
So you don't bother the people around you like it's their fault or something that you don't fit into your own seat. I love how we try to lash out at everyone around us because we're ashamed.
If you want to pack extra clothing in case your clothing gets lost on an airplane because, you know, brands don't exist. So if somebody loses your luggage.
Oh, this stupid argument again. I have to carry like 10 different suitcases full of backup luggage in case they lose mine because I can't shop anywhere. I have to bring a tailor with me to custom make all my clothes as I travel through Europe because my size will change.
Then like you're fucked and you won't have clothing to put on your body once you get there. If you want...
That's a really bizarre response to somebody saying that being obese is a choice. You just start talking about how much it sucks.
To just like be seen as not a human. If you want to make less money, if you want to be fired from your job.
Yeah, the comment said being obese is almost always a choice, Lamau. You can choose to be fat, but to advocate for it is crazy. So they're calling you out for advocating for obesity, and your response is to talk about all the negative things that are associated with being obese. Okay, so why would you advocate for it then?
Because we're not seen as like a protected class and we can just get fired for being fat.
What? Nobody's firing anybody just for being fat. If you have 10% of the productivity of other people, they might fire you for that.
Yeah, be fat with me. It's fun.
Okay, so they called you out for advocating for obesity, and your response is to talk about all the negative things associated with being obese. What? Okay, well, if there are all these negative things associated with being obese, then why are you advocating for it? Like that person said. Next. Now she's going to be responding to this comment that says, as a skinny girl, it's objectively worse on this end. They literally don't make clothes that fit me and don't fall off.
I know people don't like when I talk about this.
But you keep on going.
But it's the truth. There is a difference between you not finding clothing that fits you the way you would like and plus-size people not finding clothing to fit their body.
How is there any difference? If clothes don't fit, clothes don't fit. You guys always have to say that you have it worse, right?
The difference is you may find something in a store that you could modify, tailor, get that you could fix in a way that would fit your body.
What are you talking about? So I go to a store and a shirt is like 5 sizes too big. Well, it physically can go over your body, so you're good to go. If you were obese like me, it physically can't even get on you, so what are you gonna do? Okay, so if I'm skinny, it's fine to buy a garment that's 10 sizes too big, because just bring your sewing machine to the store with you, you moron. Just alter it so it fits you. Even though that's not ever a choice for people living in a larger body, right? When people are like, go make your own clothes if you can't find any, they're like, what? No, manufacturers need to make this for me. But if a thin person can't find their clothes, just go alter them. But you can't do that, though. Okay.
Plus-size people cannot find something to fit over themselves in a store.
Depending on their level of plus-sizedness. Hopefully when we get to that level, we start seeing it as some sort of flag, perhaps red.
That is the difference. So like our option is literally Go naked.
Or wear all those other clothes that you have in your closet, like you're currently wearing, like you're always wearing. You guys are always wearing plenty of clothes and then complaining about how there's no clothes. I've yet to see one of you in the nude.
Or not. Like, it's not comparable, and so I get really frustrated when I...
Well, it is comparable, and the fact that you think it's not means that you're a total narcissist who doesn't care about anybody but yourself.
See comments like this because they're like, oh, well, I'm just so tiny. I can't find something that fits me the exact way that I want it. So, like,
That is how they talk.
we have similar struggles. It's not similar.
It's not similar. Only your struggles are legitimate. Everybody else is a whiny idiot.
Compounded by the fact that you are closer to the beauty standard, you hold the power, so you're also not experiencing the fat phobia that goes along with it.
You hold the power. Dude, whatever you gotta tell yourself, man.
So, like, we're not experiencing comparable things here.
Oh, you're right, it's not comparable. If somebody is too small for clothes, that's more of a genetic thing. Unless they are severely underweight. So you're right, it's not comparable. One of these is within our control, and one is not. Next. Now she's going to be responding to this comment that reads, "Thin phobia is definitely a word, and it is not me who is triggered. I just bought the last 6X shirts and 7X shirts on Amazon that I could find just because I can. Lol." Okay, we found another person that's buying up all the plus sizes.
Oh, but I'm not afraid of thin people.
Ah, you turned it around on him.
Do you know how many times I've heard that excuse when I've heard people get called out for their blatant fat phobia?
I bet you've heard that quite a bit.
I'm not terrified of thin people. I have so many thin friends. No,
That was problematic.
but for real, there has been a movement to use anti-fat bias rather than fat phobia when talking about all of the comments I received on that video.
Okay, we're changing the terminology to something that makes a little more sense. Although anti-fat bias still implies that people care enough to have a bias against you. That's why both of these terms are really stupid, because the average person doesn't actually give a shit. They don't have an aversion to you in any way, shape, or form. They don't know you exist. They don't care. They're living their lives. There's no anti-fat bias. That would imply that people care enough to just go around disliking people living in a larger body in general.
And it's because generally people who spew rhetoric like this, if you say, hey, that's fat phobic, they'll go, I'm not afraid of fat people. I don't have a phobia of fat people. I'm not afraid of fat people.
Right, and they also don't have a bias against them either. So your new terminology is also manipulative and wrong.
That's not what we're saying. But if you say to someone, hey, this is anti-fat bias, or you're being anti-fat,
They will also laugh.
it's kind of harder to sidestep that than it is by calling something a phobia. So
It's not harder to sidestep that. If I disagree with you, it's not because I have anti-fat bias. Once again, you're trying to play the victim anytime somebody disagrees with you.
that's just kind of some general information for you. Not that you in particular are going to listen to me based on your comments that you've left, but I'm hoping this is educational for someone else.
Yeah. I'm learning a lot here.
And now I'm going to explain to you why thin phobia is not a thing. So our society is set up in a way that structurally and historically, fat people are treated as a marginalized group in society, okay?
No. Historically, there weren't even enough obese people to get together and complain and even have a movement, so...
We have less access to things. We are not a protected group.
Why would you be a protected group?
So, like, we can be fired from our jobs. We make less money.
Anybody can be fired from their jobs, bro. So you want to make it illegal to fire obese people from their jobs, period. Even if they are completely incompetent and can't do the job.
We have less access to healthcare. We have poor health outcomes because of that. I could go on and on as to like the structure in society and all of that. But because of that, that means that thin people who are closer to the beauty standard, hold more privilege.
You mean they've done more work and therefore are getting more of a reward. And people that have done no work are not getting a reward. What the heck? That's weird.
And therefore hold more power.
I don't have any kind of power because I did not eat myself out of mobility.
Therefore, you can't have bias towards the community that holds the power.
I don't think you know what the word bias means. You can have bias against literally anyone or anything. There's no community that holds power because they did not make themselves obese. That's really weird. That's like an alcoholic trying to tear down people that are sober. You have all the power, you're not drunk like me. Okay, maybe stop drinking, you know? I don't know why you're complaining to me.
You can only have bias towards the marginalized community.
What? You can have bias against anybody.
So thin phobia is not a thing. If you want...
Yeah, it can be. And actually, I've seen far more people living in a larger body that have a bias towards thinner people than vice versa.
More information on something to this extent, you can go read this article. Skinny shaming is not the same as fat phobia.
I will go read that.
Again, not that you in particular...
You can go read this article titled, "All of My Problems Are Super Important and Yours Are Not." Written by me, of course.
will, but hopefully it's educational for someone else.
Okay, so you don't give a crap about me or my struggles, but I'm supposed to care about you and your struggles. Thin phobia doesn't exist because you can't have bias towards thin people, apparently. Which is hilarious because almost all of the bias that I've seen is from larger people towards thinner people. As it turns out, people that are bitter and jealous are actually the ones with the bias. How about that? And it's so obvious that they can't even hide it. The thins, skinny minis, thin mints, all these negative terms that they use to refer to thin people. You do all that stuff because you are the one with the bias. So I disagree with all of the aforementioned, but what do you think? Is fatness a choice? Do skinny people actually have it worse trying to find clothes at the store than larger people? And is thin phobia real? Leave a comment below. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Anyway, that about does it. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.